Jensen Huang wasn't, born into Silicon Valley fame, wasn't handed a silver spoon or anything. He began life in 1963, Tainan, Taiwan, in a pretty modest family. He enrolled at Oregon State University to study electrical engineering. That's where that natural curiosity and, frankly, incredible work ethic really flourished. He aced courses on circuits, the pathways electricity travels, microprocessors, the tiny brains of computers and semiconductors, the fundamental materials behind it all. But what stands out here, beyond the intense academics, is a really significant personal milestone. He also met Lori, who would later become his wife, a pivotal partnership forming amidst all that learning.
Yeah, university years are often about more than just the curriculum, right? They're about developing critical thinking, analytical skills, building your network. And after his undergraduate degree, moving to Stanford University for his master's in electrical engineering, well, that truly put him right in the heart of Silicon Valley.
The epicenter.
Exactly. The epicenter of innovation and tech advancement. This was where he deepened his technical knowledge for sure, but crucially, he connected with mentors and peers who were right at the forefront of the burgeoning tech industry. He gained insights not just into engineering, but into the broader tech ecosystem, the business models, the future trends, all stuff that would directly inform his future business strategies later on.
So it was like a perfect blend of high-level theory and practical industry exposure.
Precisely.
Okay, so armed with his Stanford master's, Huang didn't just jump straight into founding a company, did he? He spent significant time at two major players in the semiconductor world, LSI Logic and AMD. These weren't just jobs, were they? More like foundational experiences.
Absolutely. Almost like a second advanced degree in real-world chip design. At LSI Logic, which was a pioneer in custom chip design back then, he got practical, hands-on experience designing microchips from the ground up. Then, at AMD, a titan in processors and graphics tech, he focused deeply on the cutting edge of CPU and graphics development. So these roles, they weren't just about honing his technical expertise. They were about developing leadership skills within that super competitive semiconductor industry. But this period was also critical for another, maybe more subtle reason. It was where he realized that while technology could transform the world, he also started seeing significant limitations in how the existing companies were approaching things.
Limitations? Like what?
Well, perhaps in their long-term vision, or maybe their willingness to take really bold risks.
Okay, so pulling back a bit then, what specific insights or maybe frustrations did he encounter there that really pushed him towards entrepreneurship? It sounds like those corporate jobs were less about climbing the ladder and more about finding the missing rung.
Precisely. That's a great way to put it. The sources suggest he felt many established semiconductor firms were just too focused on general-purpose CPUs. They were kind of missing the burgeoning specialized demand for high-performance graphics processing.
Graphics was seen as niche back then.
Yeah, very niche. Primarily for gaming, maybe some high-end workstations, but not seen as worthy of massive investment in dedicated, highly parallel architectures. He saw a fragmented market, lots of smaller, less integrated graphic solutions.
Right.
And a real reluctance by the big players to truly innovate in what they saw as a secondary market. This realization, this clear gap between what was available and what could be, that was the crucible where the idea for NVIDIA truly began to form. He recognized this profound future potential that pretty much everyone else was overlooking.
And that profound recognition led him to take this massive leap. In 1993, Jensen Huang, along with two colleagues, Chris Malachowski and Curtis Prime, they co-founded NVIDIA. And here's another key detail that really speaks to his immediate vision. Huang became CEO right away.
Took the helm.
Yeah. Their goal was incredibly ambitious, maybe even audacious. Design high-performance graphics chips for personal computers. I mean, think about that. The graphics industry then was small, intensely competitive, and just littered with failed startups. It was a true David and Goliath situation. High stakes.
Ooh, incredibly high stakes. And those early years of NVIDIA were absolutely fraught with challenges. They faced limited funding, fierce competition from giants, and just the sheer technical hurdles of creating something genuinely new.
Yeah.
Yet Huang's unwavering vision, that determination forged in those earlier tough experiences, it guided the company through that whole tumultuous period. He pushed for relentless innovation.
And then came the breakthrough.
A truly pivotal moment for the entire industry. 1999, NVIDIA releases the GeForce 256. This wasn't just another faster graphics card. It was really heralded as the world's first true GPU graphics processing unit.
Why true? What was different?
Oh, because it was a single-chip processor with integrated transform and lighting capabilities. Stuff that used to require the CPU or separate chips.
Oh.
This created an entirely new category of computing.
Yeah.
It wasn't just an improvement. It was a fundamental architectural shift. A big one.
That's a powerful point. So the real insight isn't just that the GPU was a breakthrough, but how it fundamentally shifted the paradigm away from sequential processing, like a CPU does,
Little thing after another.
to massive parallel computation. Before the GeForce 256, graphics cards were more like accelerators, doing bits and pieces. NVIDIA's GPU, though, was designed from the ground up to handle thousands of operations simultaneously. That unlocked unprecedented visual fidelity for gaming, sure, but crucially, it laid down the blueprint for future complex computations way beyond just rendering polygons.
Exactly.
It wasn't just about better gaming, it was about reimagining how certain types of problems could be solved.
Exactly. That focus on parallel processing was the absolute game changer. It allowed for incredibly complex real-time 3D graphics that just weren't possible before. But even then, Huang wasn't content to just dominate the gaming market. He was already looking years, maybe even decades ahead.
And that foresight brings us to the next pivotal chapter, right? After the GeForce launch, NVIDIA exploded, became synonymous with top-tier gaming. But like you said, he wasn't resting on those laurels. He kept focusing on innovation, always looking ahead. The sources make it really clear that his vision quickly extended way beyond just graphics for entertainment. He saw this incredible, untapped potential for GPUs in areas far removed from just making pixels look pretty.
And this is where Huang truly, I think, solidified his reputation as an extraordinary tech visionary. He foresaw how those parallel processing capabilities of GPUs, initially designed for rendering complex graphics, would be perfectly suited for the intense computational demands of things like artificial intelligence,
AI, yeah.
scientific research, and eventually even autonomous vehicles. While many in the industry were still laser-focused on traditional computing, Huang started investing heavily in software platforms like CUDA.
CUDA was key.
Hugely key. It allowed developers to actually use GPUs for general-purpose computing, not just graphics. Now, this was a huge gamble
Why a gamble?
because it meant convincing an entire ecosystem, programmers, researchers, to adopt a totally new way of programming and thinking about computation. But wow, did it pay off? NVIDIA GPUs rapidly became the standard for AI, training, machine learning, powering the world's fastest supercomputers. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this strategic pivot wasn't obvious at the time.
Yeah.
A lot of people probably thought he was crazy.
Right.
But it fundamentally reshaped not just NVIDIA, but the entire tech industry's direction. It was massive.
And what's fascinating is that this wasn't just about selling more chips, was it? It wasn't just a commercial decision. He truly emphasized that technology should solve meaningful real-world problems, things like climate modeling, drug discovery, advancing medical imaging.
Yes.
It was about enabling profound solutions to global challenges. And his unique leadership style, that openness to risk-taking, encouraging creative thinking, that essential long-term planning that was absolutely critical in pulling off such a radical pivot.
He fostered a culture where it was okay to fail fast, but you had to learn even faster. That kind of environment is vital when you're making bets on technologies that are years, sometimes decades away from mainstream adoption.
Yeah, you need that freedom.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And his ability to articulate that long-term vision, even when others couldn't see it, that allowed NVIDIA to lead rather than just follow the pack.
So pulling all these threads together now, what does this all mean for us, for the listener? Jensen Huang's life story, it's clearly not just a corporate biography. It's this powerful testament to resilience, visionary innovation, transformative leadership. From that young boy in Taiwan facing profound culture shock, those unexpected detours like the troubled school,
Yeah, Chris.
to becoming this global tech leader who fundamentally reshaped an industry, his journey offers so many potent lessons.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The sources really highlight, I think, 4 key takeaways that resonate deeply. They offer practical insights for anyone, really, building a career or a company. First, resilience. His early experiences, especially the tough ones like being sent to the wrong school, they weren't setbacks, they were incubators.
Incubators, I like that.
Yeah, they cultivated this extraordinary ability to adapt, persevere, rely on himself, qualities absolutely essential for navigating the volatile tech world. Second, vision. Huang consistently showed this uncanny ability to think way beyond the present. He anticipated future needs, future trends, like that revolutionary pivot of GPUs to AI, long before others saw it. It's not just guessing, it's deeply understanding technology's potential.
Right, seeing around corners.
Exactly. Third, innovation. For him, technology wasn't an end in itself. It should always strive to solve meaningful, real-world problems. The GPU wasn't just about faster gaming. It was about unleashing parallel computing power to tackle huge challenges in science and industry. And fourth, leadership. True leadership, the kind Huang exemplified, isn't just about managing operations or hitting quarterly numbers. It's about inspiring a compelling long-term vision, guiding a team through uncertainty, and empowering others to achieve extraordinary things, even when the path isn't clear at all.
And beyond the business side, the sources also frequently mention his deep personal values, his commitment to family, his passion for education, his dedication to giving back through philanthropy and mentorship. It's clear that today NVIDIA is much more than just a company. It's become this living symbol of persistence, visionary leadership, and relentless, impactful innovation. His life story really continues to inspire millions around the world. It proves that challenging beginnings can often lead to the most extraordinary destinations. Wow, what an incredible deep dive into the life of Jensen Huang. From that curious boy in Taiwan, navigating culture shock and those profoundly unexpected detours, to the visionary leader who didn't just see the true potential of the GPU, but actively propelled NVIDIA into the future of AI and supercomputing. His story really underscores the power of resilience, doesn't it? And the undeniable impact of having a clear, long-term vision, even when that vision seems, well, unconventional to others.
Indeed. It genuinely challenges us, I think, to consider how our own early experiences, even the difficult ones, the setbacks, can unexpectedly forge the qualities we need for future success, and how often the greatest innovations come not from inventing something totally new from scratch, but from seeing existing technologies through a completely fresh lens, finding applications that others might entirely overlook or just dismiss as too niche.
Finding the hidden potential. So here's a provocative thought for you, the listener, to maybe mull over. What troubled school moments in your own life, or perhaps in the history of an industry you follow closely, have unexpectedly laid the groundwork for future resilience or maybe even groundbreaking innovation? How might truly seeing the limitations in existing companies, like Jensen Huang did, inspire your next big idea, pushing you to redefine what's possible? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Jensen Huang's remarkable journey. If you found this insightful and hopefully inspiring, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Tech Talk English podcast for more deep dives that help you stay well-informed and creatively inspired. We really appreciate your support and can't wait to unpack more knowledge with you next time.